Why your son is right-wing. Identity politics wasn't a weekend seminar. We did this to an entire generation, and it's showing up in their preferences. I wonder what kind of discussion we're gonna see here. What kind of mentality. Well, yeah. My earliest memory of anything vaguely political was my parents telling me that George Herbert Walker Bush was a piece of shit. Oh my god. So this huge name is like George Bush? I think it is. I don't know his full name. Funnily enough, I would meet the senior President Bush many years later, and I found that he and his wife, even in serious declining health, were utterly delightful people and wonderful hosts. I don't know. I know nothing about George W. Bush, okay? I don't even remember or know if he's a Democrat or Republican. I don't know. This is how, like, I don't know, like, much about old politicians, you know? I have no idea. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about George W. Bush, because I don't know. But, yeah, I think if I can tell apart more of these writers' behavior according to the article that we are reading more along, I would probably have a definition of who is George W. Bush. But yeah. So he likes Bush. So I still don't know nothing about the right itself. But what kind of thinking he's defending here? But yeah, let's have let's take this in consideration. I would meet Senior President Bush many years later, and I found that he and his wife, even in serious declining health, were utterly delightful people and wonderful hosts. But that's really neither here nor there. My mom volunteered on Bill Clinton's first campaign. I don't know nothing about Bill Clinton, but if he's from because of the name of Clinton, I know, like, that Hillary Clinton is not good, so I bet he's not good as well. Which was probably the context for the remark about Bush 41. So that would be circa, did this guy, I mean, I might be wrong, okay, but he is like native English speaker. It doesn't seem like, circa 1992, at which point I was 8 years old. What was your first political memory? Did you find that it heavily influenced you? Did it shape the development of your politics for years thereafter? It certainly did in my case. Let me think. No, actually no. Because I grew up like under the same type of because of certain laws that were approved here in my lovely country recently. I better not speak about what happens here. I'm sorry, guys. But it's how things are now here. It's very recent that I will not be talking about my culture anymore. I have to stop myself of talking. I'm sorry that I almost began talking again. I wish I could give credit for this, but I can't remember where it came from. A wise person once said, no child thinks their childhood is weird. Childhood is all children know. Bad, good, violent, peaceful, safe, uncertain. It just is what it is. Yeah. It's why the duty of adults to safeguard the young is such a sacred one. The experience of childhood unpoisoned cannot be unpoisoned. There are no do-overs. Careful the things you say, children will listen. We tend to talk about partisan swings in terms of shifting preferences. The observation that young voters, men especially, have been trending Republican for the last 5 years is treated as a PR problem for the Democrats. The general belief is that something has tempted these young guns to the dark side and putting... So yeah, here I'm having more of the idea of what which side of this writer is, okay? Youngest to the dark side and putting things right requires or finding the magic words to lure them back to the light. So yeah. So he considered that the Democrats are the light, so I know enough about him already. But yeah, let's continue. We need a bro whisperer. Oh my god. There's a degree of reasonable, like, it's incredible how they did not realize, and at least it doesn't show up to now that that they didn't realize what is the problem yet. After all of this, they seem to not realize what is the problem. But okay, let's keep going. Maybe they realize that later on, developing the text, right? There is a degree of reasonableness, oh my god, here, in that people do change their minds about politics. But what we're seeing now is a different phenomenon. But let's see if I can increase this graph. It's too much small for me to read. I can, but increase too much and you guys cannot see it fully now. Percent of US adults who are Republican, lean Republican. Democrats, lean Democrat. What is the no lean refused? Okay. You can refuse to be either side, you know? You can, you have the rights, but you are certainly from one side or another. You will not like fit 100% in every side. That's how things are. The majority zone, it's like, you know, it's more mixed. But you always fit more one side than the other, you know? And because the other side, like, if you put in millimeter outside of that square, you are not of that side anymore. So yeah, I bet almost all of them on this line are Republicans and are not even aware of that. But yeah, Republicans, they are increasing, yeah, but it doesn't seem too much significant. It is increasing, and the Democrats is also decreasing. So, what I've seen is that the number of people who don't know anymore what they are increasing. Also as Republicans, but no one wanna be Democrats. Yeah, concerning. I still find this graph very weird. I think that there are still much Democrats here. I don't believe that. Or too much. No, I'm sorry, guys. To be honest, it's perfectly understandable. Because our words is, like I said, it went to shit because there are too much evil people out there. And yeah, you can see clear on this graph that there's still too much evil people out there. So yeah. And by the way, I'm not telling that the Republicans are all good or saints or nerds or whatever. But one side is clearly demonic and the other you can fight good and bad people. One side you can fight good and bad people and the other you can fight terrible ones, you know, that's it. At the risk of stating the very obvious, today, 18 to 29 years olds are not last year's. What? No, I know my English is not good, okay, but there is something wrong with this text. It's very difficult to read. At the risk of stating the very obvious, today's 18 to 29-year-olds are not last year's 18, 29 years old. And I'm really terrible in English, so this is badly written. Let me know in the comments. Because we age. Oh, wow, I had no idea. I thought I was immortal. We are talking about a literally different group of people and not, as we often imagine, or at least I do, a fixed group of people with unfixed opinions. Every year we graduate our 29s into the older bracket and we welcome new 18 years old into the fold. If 8 years old, just to use my personal example, is around the time political sentience awakens, that means that today's youngest voters were first learning what politics was just as woke was getting into full swing, which is to say, the opinions they have brought with them into adulthood were all forged in one of the most bizarre cultural crucibles the modern era has ever known. Are you trying to make me confused about you? But yeah, Those considered marginalized among this cohort were taught that they belonged to a multi-century legacy of hopeless victimhood. What? What? No, wait. Those considered marginalized among this cohort were taught that they belonged to a multi-century legacy of hopeless victimhood. I don't know who exactly are they talking about here. To be honest, I cannot identify what group they are talking about here. I'm sorry. And they were taught exactly whose fault that was. Those considered privileged were treated to what really amounts to an entire, now he's describing better, amounts to an entire childhood's worth of side-eye, suspicion, and blame for crimes committed before even their oldest relatives were no. Oh God, no. This guy seems to be making it more complicated and weird than it has to be. What a strange way to come of age this must have been. I think about it often. There is a reason we hold bigotry in disfavor. What is this that I'm reading? Oh, my eyes! This guy's already a crap because the entire page is in white background. I hate this. And I could not change to anything else. It hurts my eyes, okay? I can't. There is a reason we hold bigotry in disfavor, even when its most harmful expressions are prohibited by our laws. Communicate even subtly to entire groups of people that they are welcome, wanted, or untrustworthy cannot help but alter how members of those groups see themselves and alter their relationship to society, especially the parts of it that look askance at them. Oh my God, no, this is so horrible to read, man. No, please, and I'm crazy. I just got a lot more dumb here on English than I actually am? Or is this text like really weird? Please, let me know. This can't be possible, man. It's being really hard to understand what he's trying to say here. It's been real hard. With a full view and earshot of them, we separated children along the boundaries of moral righteousness. Kids from the unduly privileged groups were going to grow up seeing on TV, online, at movies, at school, at church, at home, everywhere, that they were fundamentally unsafe for members of other, more innocent group to be around. Their ancestors and predecessors had seen to that, boasting to such a bad track record that they should expect different, harsher standards to be applied to their lives, probably also a degree of social exclusion and limitation. They should expect it to be harder for them to enter the workforce, harder for them to climb the social and professional ladders, and harder for their contributions to be recognized and celebrated. Yes, this is the gift of boomers to us. Who could imagine that, right? Who could imagine? And harder for their contribution to be recognized and celebrated. And not only should they refrain from complaining about any of this, they should be thankful, actually. Yes! For one thing, come on. They still had it great. That's what privilege means, after all. Oh God. For another, their willingness to forfeit their respect and prosperity was a morally necessary act of penance. Their sacrifice would help balance the cosmic ledger. When would it finally be balanced? Oh, probably not in their lifetime. Exactly. And this is the same about my lovely country, but I cannot say further. Or their kids' lifetimes, or perhaps even their kids' lifetimes. In fact, asking that question is kind of problematic. So really they should keep those thoughts to themselves if they want to be considered one of the good ones. Kids from saintly marginalized backgrounds, meanwhile, would hear all of these lessons too about their bad lucky contemporaries. They'd be fed a steady diet of sour grapes and salt. Their problems? Those are other people's faults, their failures. Better though of our successes having been stolen from them. We all know by whom. By whom, I wonder? By whom? By whom? Huh? By whom do you think it was, huh? You're very silly. Exactly. What did we expect the outcome of all this to be? How did we expect the sin-drenched privileged to grow up seeing themselves in the world? Oh man, no. And you know, at least how is written here? There is things about him here. Writer, teacher, disaffected liberal. Pulling the left back to sanity. No, you're not. Not only that thought, there is no sanity left. So everything you said is already invalid. But yeah. No, I'm pretty much sure. Yeah, I took too much care before labeling him, but seeing all these keywords that we usually see, okay, he's easy less often than all the other retards that we see out there, but yeah, I knew something was wrong, and I think we finally got it. How did we expect the sin-drenched privileged to grow up seeing themselves and the world? Did we expect grace and optimism from them about the future? How about the vigils downtrodden? Did we expect them to exhibit a charitable or neighborly view of their more defective peers? Did we expect the division and upholding of extreme double standards among children to be a force for later good? Consider the political dimensions here. One of our two great parties follow it around the plurality. Now I know how he's using all these more complicated and postergating ways of saying, like if it's trying to increase length in a way that's so not you just use length, but try to use a lot of a huge amount of different words to make the text bigger without repeating himself. It's much clearer, and trying to make something too much big that could be said in 130, maybe more of this article. Wow, and I found out that what's the half yet? But yeah, let's continue. Where I was? Among children to be forced for later good. Consider the political dimensions here. One of our two great parties followed around the plurality of American youth, with a megaphone screaming at them all throughout their formative years that they were greedy and wicked and needed to be obediently queued up for a lifetime of quiet atonement. Was it really surprising that upon maturation they chose to vote for the other party? Yeah, exactly. Finally, something that actually made sense. It made sense, okay? So yeah, what have we taught these kids? An 18-year-old white man today was 80 years old when war kicked off in 2015. And remember that education was one of the earliest fields captured, so there did have been little shelter for him. His teacher wasn't just a parishioner at this church, she was a true believing acolyte. Such an 80-year-old had his entire childhood dominated by an ideology that favored every conceivable identity group over his own, well before he possessed the intellectual tools to push back or defend himself. He was instructed that his intentional marginalization was right and natural because simply for being born as he was, to the parents he was liable for a privilege he could never hope to pay off, even if he lived several lifetimes. He grew up surrounded by classmates who were allowed to openly malignant those who looked like him in ways that would never have been permissible for him to emulate in reverse. He saw it on screens, heard it through the radio, read it in the books he was assigned. He was supervised by teachers, principals, sometimes even parents, who policed his words, thoughts, and deeds in ways that they did not bother to do for his more fortunate, read historically unfortunate contemporaries. Okay, up to now it's making sense. He was allowed no escape from this. He had access to no space wherein these rules didn't apply, and God help him if he tried to create one himself. The precedent for that was, well, yeah. I will not even show too much because, YouTube is so free of speech. Like, we are so free to express our thoughts and creative here, right? So I would just jump that. All too real, all done. This is not a hypothetical. What? This is not a hypothetical. It is not a thought experiment. Oh my God, I'm not the wrong one here. Tell me that there is something wrong with this text. Jesus, I don't remember when I had so much difficulty in reading a text like this one. So I don't know if it's my fault or it's his fault, to be honest. We did it for real, to real kids, and we absolutely do not talk about it enough. In 2022, the Manhattan Institute organized a survey about 1,500 recent high school graduates, 82.4% from public schools, and asked if they'd encountered a series of 6 woke-coded ideas while at school. For all 6, a majority had learned about the concept either directly from a teacher or from another adult at the school. America is a systematically racist country. Being taught in class 30. Wow, man. Oh my God. Heard this from an adult at the school. 26%. Neither. Don't know. In America, white people have white privilege. Oh my God. No way, man. This is so freaking sick. I mean, I think we were all aware that this was happening in schools, but like this, seeing the graph, it's surreal, man. Oh my God, this is so freaking insane. In America, white people have unconscious biases that negatively affect non-white people. So because you guys couldn't see the data here before, which is which, so yeah. The blue or the dark blue one represents like being taught this in class. The light blue represents heard this from an adult at school. The gray one represents neither, and the black represents don't know. So you have a better idea what this graphic stands for. America is built on stolen land. 45%. Oh my God. Oh my God, this is not true. This was made by, I will not even explain. And I'm not even American to explain that. I have a rough idea, but it wasn't like that. It wasn't like that. Okay. Let's look at this. Of American students under the woke yoke. Okay. 62% learned that America is systematically racist country. 66% learned that in America, white people have white privilege. 57% learned that in America, white people have unconscious biases that negatively affect non-white people. 67% learned that America is built on stolen land. 53% learned that America is a patriarchal society. Oh my God, man. 51% learned that gender is an identity choice regardless of the biological sex you were born into. Yeah, and now you see how this is all, if you pay attention in all of this, you see how this reflects in the society that we have nowadays. It's totally related to all the fucking problems that we built to ourselves. Like, They built to ourselves, to them and to us, to everyone, to the society nowadays. Because I didn't ask it for any of this. I didn't make a part in any of this. But yeah, I'm reaping for what they saw, actually. I'm reaping for what they saw. And this is not fair. But please tell me more about how conservatives are hysterical for complaining about indoctrination at school. Oh my god, man. Oh my god. I'm 41. I paid attention in class. None of this shit was on the curriculum when I was coming up. I mean, maybe, arguably, the stolen land thing was at least thematically present. But that was it. We certainly didn't learn about white privilege or that our unconscious biases were harming our black and brown peers. This stuff is all very new. I don't want to get sidetracked, but speaking as a teacher, there is a special latrine in hell that I hope these folks will have to clean one day. Yes, me too. Me too. I agree with you. Public education is one of the great triumphs of small L liberalism. Small left, I think. Small left liberalism. To treat it like this is just unforgivable. I don't want kids being fed 70s era liberation gobbledygook anymore. Then I don't want them learning about eugenics or the dangers of race mongrelization. I have no idea what it is about, okay. The types sharing this would shit pineapples. Yeah, I feel like pineapple is really hated for the most people out there. The types sharing this would shit pineapples if a public school teacher ever told their class that they were all created equal and loved in the eyes of God. But they'd see no problem at all with that same teacher explaining that some kids are born with a moral stain that others lack, and that skin color determines this. Moral stain. Oh, yeah, I understood. So he's pointing at the incoherence with the left is like not wanting to kids to be taught about God in schools, but at the same time, they have pleasure. You see like this woke stuff on it. It's incredible how he still has a little bit of sanity on his text, just a little. Little Billy, first grader, is not your racist uncle at Thanksgiving, and he's not the guy in the cubicle next to you goofing at 4chan. Little Billy and his friends probably did not need to have their white privilege wrung out of them. Oh my god, white privilege. Or for their classmates who regards them as guilty or inflicting generational trauma on everyone else. A good lesson for any teacher is that in the digital age, your job really isn't to prepare students for the real world. Far earlier than you think, and far more fully than you'd like. They are already living in it. They are online as astonishingly young ages. Which is to say that by the time their consumption habits have developed in their first place, we've already lost the ability to control or regulate them. Oh, so this is what you're worried about, right? About ability to control or regulate these kids, to know what he wants them to know. Okay. And even if we think that divisive identitarianism is limited to online spaces, which is not, it would still be a problem that kids was... It's not limited by online space, but it's like... I would say that the online spaces are the main way that these things are being perpetrated, like nowadays, like this... Everything that has, because people are online all the time, committing to work, school, college, whatever it is, inside home. People are still online all the time, being smartphones, computers, whatever. Most of the time, I would say 80% of all the time that person can stay passively, this person probably is online. I know, I'm just guessing. People nowadays, like from my generation, I'm sorry. People nowadays from my generation, and probably I think one generation before, and the news after, we are more and more aligned than our parents. And my parents use the internet. They use the internet, but they learned to like to use internet like, I think they use the internet like for quite some time already, but they don't use like me. They do like all the stuff, pay accounts, etc., but they don't use it like me, certainly. And I think probably the newer generation will still use like, they're too young yet, but they will probably use in ways that, probably, for example, not a bunch of people are studying robotics yet and learning about AI content. People are still studying programming. I mean, on my generation, the generation before, I think it was like that. But I think the newer generation will be all interested in learning things like robotics and engineering. Probably, I think engineering will be always wanted. But yeah, but I mean, engineering in this part of the related to robotics and etc. And AI, learning how to actually produce, like to work with AI in general, but not like using as a tool, but to create the tool itself. You know, it requires some level of programming, of course, but it's not most of all of it. There's a lot of other knowledge that you have to know to build to be working like that, I believe. And I think the newer generations, I think even people of my generation are already learning this stuff, but not in volume yet, not too much people around like my age. But yeah. What it was again? And even if you think that divisive identities is limited to online spaces, which is not, yeah, it's what it was. It would still be a problem that kids with prefrontal cortices are 20 years away from full development, yes, are getting force-fed an endlessly repeating message that their sex and skin tone make them better or worse than others around them. So yeah, that was a weird choice we made. Doing that, nobody my age or near it experienced anything even remotely comparable in our youth. For millennials, actual anti-racism, opposing racism by or against anyone, was the order of the day. Racial prejudice was for the outdated, and the unenlightened. Sexism was described to us as a sad relic of a bygone era. But then, for Gen Z, we decided that actually those evils were still totally with us. They explained everything, and the only way to even things out was to grab the hairs of unearned privilege by the ankles and drag them the fuck under. And then something happened. They all grew up. We made them this way. It's being well. Yes, you guys made me this way as well. You guys were responsible for me to growing up as I am nowadays, you know? Because I grew up in middle of all this crap that you guys built, you know? You older ones from your 40s and 50s and 60 years olds created. This hell you guys created for me, yes. It's been well documented at times by yours truly that young men are more right-wing than they used to be. Last October, I warned the following. So, to sum up, blacks, especially young black men, Latinos, again, men in this group are more skeptical of them than women. Working class, white men, young people, young men, and men in general are all turning away from the Democrats and toward the Republicans. The only ones that are still on this side are the ones benefiting from it, like women. And even so, it's not all women anymore. More and more are like coming to senses every day. So no, not even like it's still there's a lot of women, but compared to the men, of course, but they are waking up as well. Yeah, but the other minorities is just, I think it's just impossible. I don't believe that. For example, the blacks and the LGBTQ plus, I think they will never ever wake up of this, in my opinion. Even if this, maybe the blacks, but not the LGBTQ plus, even this isn't enough of a shift to propel Donald Trump to a second term. And by me, by blacks, I'm not talking about all the blacks. I'm talking about all the other color minorities. But in fact, the blacks are the most like, how I say that? Oh, what was the word again? They are the most extreme on this spectrum of the racial thing, you know. They are the ones that are more violent or more everything because they are fed more reasons. They were fed more reasons than all other races for meanings to them to be aggressive, you know, to behave like that. Of course, this doesn't turn them victims, much the contrary, as we've seen on all this data that we have available nowadays. But yeah, they will be way harder to wake up than all the others. But not. I think probably the most hard ones to wake up will be the LGBTQ plus community. They are the most tired in all of this spectrum. What it was again? Working class white men, young people, young men, and men in general are turning away from the Democrats and toward the Republicans. Even if this isn't enough or of a shift to propel Donald Trump to a second term, the trend lines are sufficiently worrying that we might want to spend some time exploring the cause of the bleeding, maybe see if we can find a tourniquet or something. And did anyone notice a theme that in that last paragraph? A true line, so to speak. I hope so, because I was rubbing your nose pretty hard in it. Democrats have a problem with men. Wow, don't tell me, never realized that. And if they don't want to lose this election, and many more after it, they need to start taking it seriously. And men, are they not? It's been many months, and I don't think I'd offer a single amendment to what I wrote back then. And Democrats have a bizarrely difficult time understanding that these voting trends are actually telling us about the electorate. They've just spent 20 minutes to study young men in the hopes that they can understand and reverse their rightward drift. There's no way you guys spend so much money to try to understand what's going on with men. It's so it's everywhere. You just wanna, you only have to look at it. They just don't want to because they're all extreme right-wing grifters and they don't want to pay attention on that. You know? Because they are right-wing grifters. It's not because they are men. It's because they are right-wing grifters, So they are paying to what? What they want to, which men are they spending this money to learn of? On the feminist men? I don't know. I don't know what they are doing, but they are clearly not learning a thing. They're not interested in learning a thing because they know, I bet they know the only solution, it's impossible for them to not know. The only solution for this is catering to men. And to cater to men, they will need to actually, undo all the stupid things that they've been doing up until now. And they will not. They will keep enforcing all this bullshit down everyone's throats. Like they always have been doing. Because they don't change anything. They don't learn anything. They just want to push everything that they want over the others. That's how the Democrats, that's how the leftish operates. And they will censor you, they will kill you, they will do whatever they want to make what they want prevails. I bet they're already thinking in a way of unaliving all of the men on Earth only, that are all the white men on Earth only, and let all the others alive. Because for them, this is way more easy than actually trying to cater to men. This is what I believe they are doing, to be very honest. Because this is how demonic they are. I don't even doubt that. Seriously. The favorite narrative goes something like this. Young men were left wings 10 years ago. They are now right wing. Ergo, somebody, Theo Von, Andrew Tate, hypnotized them. No, they were not hypnotized by them. I don't know why people talk about Andrew Tate and Theo Von so much. Most of you guys here in my audience don't even like Andrew Tate. Like, you guys may agree with some of his ideas, but not with his personality, clear. And I know because you guys talked about this a lot already on the comments and on Discord, so I know you guys don't like him. So it wasn't like that. And also, yeah, maybe because as well, you guys are way more old. Maybe these people like Andrew Tate and I don't even know who Theo Von is catering to the people of my generation and lower that are calm, you know? Because my audience here is all above like 30, 40, 50. So yeah, maybe this will not really cater to them, even though you guys agree with most of the ideas. We must seize this magic for ourselves so that they may be reaped. Oh my god, man. Oh my god, I cannot believe. So this is what they want here. It's about like control the man. They don't want to understand the man do what it's right. You see, this is how they act. It's always about power and control. For them, it always works like that. And I'm not saying the Republicans doesn't do that. Clearly they do. But these people, like, it's the levels. It's just absurd. It's totally different, okay? It's totally different. We must seize the magic for ourselves so that they may be hypnotized back into the fold. Yeah, this is what they want in the end. This all we'll see in a moment is partially correct, but it misses a rather glaring point, which is that, again, they are not the same man. Joe Rogan did not trap a bunch of 80-year-olds in stasis, poison them with right-wing ideas like that. Cheeks notes, Bernie Sanders was a good choice for president, and then released them to answer Gallup surveys 10 years later as the same vernal youngster. What actually happened, of course, was that a bunch of boys grew up to become voting age men. They did indeed have different politics from their springly predecessors because, and this is the part Democrats get right, they were in a way hypnotized. He completed here. By us, yes, makes sense. We trapped these kids in an ideological straitjacket against which they were not allowed to resist, against which resisting made them evil. Then we gasped in horror when they aged out of our stewardship and decided that actually they'd had rather enough of all that. Not to be hyperbolic, but what we did to these guys was something like abuse. What we did to it wasn't something like abuse, it was abuse. What we did to their childhoods was something like theft. And we would have no trouble, none at all, understanding that if it had been any other group on the receiving end, we caused them to come of age in a world that hated and blamed. Oh my god. We caused them to come of age in a world that hated and blamed them, and that never missed an opportunity to remind them of just how much. 10 years, for 10 years we did this. We also ruthlessly punished and liberal voices that dared extend their comfort or encouragement, quote-unquote, Shuon had, thus ensuring that the only supportive voices they could hear from were the toxic ones who'd made cancel-proof edgelording their whole brand. As to their support for Trump and the GOP, think of it like this. They left an intimate partner who'd promised never to stop smacking them around for one who promised to love and respect them. Quick, Democrats, better drop $20 million to crack that nut. Never again. To those wondering why I don't spend more time criticizing Trump or why I refuse to drop my irritation with the woke movement, It is this. I have a young son. I don't particularly want him to grow into a man who votes for people like Donald Trump or listens to people like Andrew Tate, but I can't ultimately stop him from doing either. What I can do is try my damnedest to ensure that he never wants to, that he grows up in a world that doesn't make him feel victimized, marginalized, or despised, where he can choose his politics according to his preference, not just by fleeing to the only side that doesn't want to watch him bleed. Yes, and guess what? Because he's your son. All of this stupid thing ends up when it's about your child, your kids, your family, your life, all this bullshit falls apart on that, I have seen what this disgusting ideology did to boys a little older than mine, and I'm not letting it get its grubby hands on him. Over my purple, festering corpse will I let you roll out another decade of this filth. I was happy to nod along with the lecture. I politely clapped for the seminar. I opened my mind and listened. It was kind of hard not to when you had the podium for a full 10 years, but that's over now. Now you can take your generational contamination and you can fucking eat it. Now I'm your enemy. I'm coming for your silly project, and I'm going to burn it all down. Yeah, you better work way more better on that. Like, this is just a beginning. Mons I clarified that this was not a direct quote to 8-year-old me. Yeah, and there is comments here. I told my son straight out that the educational system does not have his best interests in mind. Regurgitate what they want to hear, get your grade, but don't internalize it. Woman-run education and the system is designed to uplift girls. I was always flash on. I talked about this already on the channel with you guys, I believe. I always flash on a quote from Nietzsche. In revenge and in love, a woman is more barbarous than a man. And its base wokeness isn't about justice, it's about revenge. Oh, there's 20 replies! Oh my god! No, this video is too big already. Too big. Let's just read this another one. We are done. There are 225 more Damn, that's a lot of people, man. Wow. Thank you for writing this. I'm a father of a teenage white male, and your writing acknowledges what radicalized you. Like you, I first voted in 1992, and was more or less a liberal voter, supporting fair play, civil rights, and social safety nets. But now I'm a radical reactionary forced to focus solely on my narrow self-interest and that of my own offspring. Like you, I'm not a fan of Trump or other self-serving demagogues, but they are the much lesser of the evils. Exactly. It's like I said, Trump has many problems, but come on, Kamala Harris? Hillary Clinton? Oh, come on. Or maybe, oh my god, I don't want to even think about Biden again. Oh my god, man. Damn, Jesus Christ. Before we go any further, I want to take this brief moment here to thank all of you, my patrons, for the incredible support to my work here on YouTube, and especially my Three-Tailed Fox tier members, Awenydd, Fenny Sylvy, Heath Rowell, Zalost, Taiashi, SuccubusBait, and your Eaton. Thank you very much. You guys are amazing. Also, thanks to everyone who donated to me through Tron and to all of my YouTube members. You can support this channel life and growth with just $5 a month and gain access to many perks. This is less than a burrito. Check out my Patreon, link is in the description below. That's it, guys. Thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this rant. And this very long reading. Support me on Ko-Fi, Tron, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye. And that's it for today, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Ja, mata ne!